Okay, so in this video we're going to look at how to take a test that is in exam view and put it into Blackboard. So here is my test in exam view. I'm going to go up here to File and I'm going to Export to Blackboard, and I'm going to do Blackboard, the highest number they have listed here, the 7.1. And it's going to ask me to name it. So I'm just going to name it Practice Test for the purposes of this video. I'm going to name it Practice Test 1. And I'm going to save it on the desktop. So when I do that, I get this other screen here. And I'm going to name it again, the same thing, Practice Test 1. And down here where it says directory name, I'm just going to put Publisher Exam and click OK. So if I minimize this, what it does on my desktop is it creates this zip file for my practice test. So now I want to go into Blackboard and I want to upload this into Blackboard. So we're going to bring up Blackboard. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to bring that test into Blackboard. So I'm going to import the test. I'm going to scroll down all the way to the bottom where it says Course Tools. And it gives me a whole list of things. And I'm going to click on Test, Surveys, and Pools. And I'm going to click on Tests. And I'm going to import the test. And so now I'm going to browse my computer for that test. So I'll find that zip file that it created called Practice Test 1 with the little purple, blue, and green book here. Double click on that. You can now see the file there, Practice Test 1, and I'm going to submit. Okay, so it tells me that the test import has completed. So now, whichever area I want to put it in, let's see if I remember exactly how to do this. Let's say, for example, it's the pre-test, and I'm going to put it under week 1. I'm going to go over here to Assessments, and I'm going to go to Test. And here you can see the Practice Test 1 listed there. So I'm just going to click on it. And I'm going to click Submit. And then if I want to, I can type in some instructions about the test here, maybe telling them they have only a certain amount of time to take the test. I can go through here, make the link available. They can only take it one time, so we're not going to put multiple attempts. We're going to force completion, which basically means we're going to set the timer, and when we do that, when the time is up, it's going to submit even if they're still in it. So your pre-test should be for 15 minutes, your post-test should be for 30 minutes. I'm going to turn that on so it automatically submits even if they are not done when they hit the 15 minutes. You can choose your dates as far as when you want the test available. We're not going to include a password. Now, if we go a little bit further down, your pre-test is not part of the grade center. So for pre-test, we're not going to mark this. For any other test, we're going to mark to include it in the grade center calculations. So for show the test results, it depends on what you want students to see. Normally we leave it set as after submission. and you can choose if you want them to see the answers, the correct ones, the questions that they answered incorrectly. So what we usually do is we check all of this except for when we're doing the pre-test and the post-test. We only want them to see the score. But if you want them to be able to see what they got wrong, what they got right, and what the answers are, you can click all of these boxes here. I'm just going to click one for right now. You can choose if you want them to see a big screen with all of the questions all at once, or if you want it to be one question that comes up at a time. And then you're going to click Submit. So now under week 1, whatever I added is going to be at the bottom of the list. So there's my practice test. I'm going to edit the test, and you want to make all of your items, all of your assignments, test, everything worth 100 points. So right now this test is worth 20 points. So what we can do is we may have to play around with it a little bit, but we can change it to make it worth 100 points. And one way to do that would make each question worth a certain number of points. So instead of going over here and having to change each individual question, we can just do it here. Let's say, for example, now when you have when you have certain number of questions, it's easier to change your points. When you have other numbers of questions, it's a little bit harder. So if I divide 100 by 14, it comes out to 7.14. I'm just going to change every question to be worth 7 points. So I'm typing in 7 points there. I'm going to click on All, because that'll do it to every single question, and I'm going to update. So now you can see that we have 98 points. So all I really have to do is I can just take 2 of my questions and change them from 7 points to 8 points, and that'll get me up to the 100. Not a big deal to do that. Now let's say, for example, I had 25 questions. Well, it would be very easy. I can make each question worth 4 points. That'll automatically come out to 100. But either way, just kind of manipulate it until you get it to 100 points. And then you're good to go. And so that is how you import your test from Blackboard, from ExamView into Blackboard.